something was up. You started changing, stopped.
Hello friends, welcome back to another video. This video I'm actually very excited to put out. Honestly, I never thought I would get to this point. I never thought I would have a video on this, but I am beyond proud of myself for being here and finishing another semester of nursing school. It is no joke, you guys. It is definitely hard. I think they're a little more lenient on maybe how they used to be, but it definitely is still very hard. Definitely kicks your butt, as you guys can tell. I am having a great night. Literally the moment I passed my final and everything, we went to Azteca. I got a jumbo margarita and ate a bunch of Mexican food, had some queso, you know, all the things. And then I went to Walmart with my fiance. We got a couple drinks and it's been great. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about my second semester of nursing. I want to give a little bit of my experience and just how things have been, how I've been studying, you know, things that have been helping me, and just advice to you guys on future students who may be going into nursing and just curious to know what they should look out for, how they should study, you know, just some insights on nursing. If you guys are considering nursing or already like maybe in your first semester or anything like that, I just wanted to give you guys my experience and just go over what has helped me so far. So before we jump into the actual aspect of this semester, the classes that I'm taking, stuff like that, and things that have helped me, I did want to kind of back up a little bit and give you guys a little rundown of everything before we hop into that. But I decided to do the nights and weekends program, and I just wanted to share this because I think it is literally the most hardest thing to find on YouTube. I remember being a student and I had such the hardest time figuring out if I wanted to be in the days program or in the nights program. And I tried to research about this over and over and over again, and I could not find anything on it, and I don't know why. So yeah, I chose to do the nights and weekends program, and the hours for this is absolutely amazing because my class did not start till 5 p.m. and then we got done around 9:30 p.m. We never really stayed the full time. I mean, we usually got done like 8:30. We never really stayed till 9:30, which I'm not mad about. But the times were amazing. So we went from about 5 to about 9:30 at night. Clinicals were every other weekend, so it was only once every other weekend. And then we did our rotations and everything, and clinical days are 12-hour days, but we were never there for a full 12-hour day, like not once. I think we would get there about 6:30 in the morning, and we'd get done about like 3 or 4. I think the latest I got out one night was like 5 p.m., but so we never like actually stayed the full 12 hours, which was nice. But as far as timing goes, I felt like that was like what worked best for me. Like I could not imagine being in the days program. Like I can't. I think they have them like multiple days a week. They have clinicals every weekend or something. I don't know. Not for me. So on top of classes being at 5 to 9 and clinicals every other weekend, we only had classes Mondays and Wednesdays. So we had class on Monday and then a class on Wednesday. Mondays we had a first class and then a second class, and then Wednesday was just one class. So that left us plenty of time to study or to work. Like I felt like I could actually work during the program and not be like super overwhelmed. Now I did cut back on my hours quite a bit. I used to work pretty much full-time hours, and then I went very PRN, which is as needed, or like you're pretty much making your own schedule, which helped me a ton. So I would always work around exams and everything. So like when I had an exam, I literally would not work for like that whole week prior to that, because I wanted to get caught up on assignments, turn everything in, turn in my study guide, go over that, and then I would take time to study the few days before the exam, because I felt like practice questions were like the main thing that helped me, and I'll get to that because I really want to share the main things that helped me on my exams, because Nclex style questions are not easy. So yes, I did cut my hours. So there was a few times I'd maybe work like 2 or 3 times a week, maybe more if I felt comfortable doing so, and actually maybe less if I felt like I was really overwhelmed and had a lot going on. So Yeah, I also work from YouTube, and I also work from coaching, so I work a lot online, or kind of like my own business or at home work. So I felt like I didn't have to work as much as at the hospital, because I was still earning side income from all my other sources of income. So that was really, really helpful. But those of you who are wanting to work during school, just know that it is so doable, so doable. As long as you guys are not like working completely full-time, working like 12-hour shifts. That might be hard, especially if it's like days that you have to like study, like if it's a day before an exam or something and you can't get out of work and working a 12-hour shift. That'd be really hard. I normally do not work on the days that I have school, so I refuse to work on Mondays and I refuse to work on Wednesdays. I normally only work Tuesdays and then like Thursdays and then like some of the weekends that I didn't have clinical. So as far as actually like going through the semester and what classes I was taking, so our first class was med surg. It was like HHIC. It's like holistic health illness concepts or something like that. It was like a 10 credit class, so it was a very bulky class because a lot of this is part of your clinicals and getting your clinical hours. So this class was pretty hefty. There was so much material and so little time. But this class was actually pretty fun. I felt like I learned the most in this class. My first semester, obviously just like your fundamentals, just your basics. And then I actually felt like I was diving more into the material and actually like learning why things are, why some lab values might be a certain way, why they might be experiencing like respiratory acidosis or something, or like, I don't know, just like learning more about the cardiac system, cardiac meds, learning how perfusion works, and just knowing like signs and symptoms of heart failure and just like little things like that. Well, not little things, but it was starting to add up and accumulate to actually like turn into something else that like actually made sense, because I felt like the first semester I was just like, oh, like I know nothing. So this semester was definitely so much more fun because I felt like things were actually coming together and piecing together. But yeah, so my other class that we took was HSC, so this is Health System Concepts. Not a huge fan of this class. Definitely don't recommend repeating or anything like that. Like, you better work your butt through that class so you don't have to do it again, because it's a lot of like health informatics, law, just like all the business side of things in nursing. Definitely don't think it's something that you guys want to sit through a second time. So yeah, I just really pushed my way through that because I was like, I'm not doing this again. So yeah, lots of business stuff and, you know, HIPAA and, like error commission, like doing things wrong, or, adverse events, or, you know, just all these things that can happen as a nurse, and understanding the law side of things. But yeah, not a huge fan. But I did end up passing both classes with a B, which I'm so very proud of, because, you know, when I first started nursing, or even before I got accepted into the program, I'm like, man, do I really want to do this? I feel like I'm not really smart enough, and like I just had a lot of self-doubt, because like this is like the craziest thing I've ever done, like for school wise. I mean, I did cosmetology and I was a cosmetologist, but like nursing school's no joke, you guys, no joke. Yeah, I had my first few anxiety attacks, which I've never had before. Had huge headaches, like severe hypertension. I like went to the ER and it was like 170 over like 90, and I never had any episodes of hypertension ever. Like high blood pressure is just not a thing for me. I'm always like 120 over 76, or like, so yeah, definitely had some really bad anxiety, some chest pain. I was having high blood pressure. I had my first mental breakdown. I like bawled my eyes out for like an hour, like a few days before my exams. Yeah, so definitely kicks my butt, that's for sure. So I passed both my classes with a B, and I wanted to talk about what has helped me so far and what I've learned. So when you guys are taking like Nclex style questions, you will have 4 different options to choose from. Well, at least we do. I know next semester they're going to have 10 different options to choose from, so the Nclex and stuff is going to get harder. Oh, so glad I did nursing school when I did, because I do not want to do that. Because like select all questions and they had like 10 options, I would not know what to do. But when you guys are looking at your questions and you have 4 different options. If you guys don't know, Nclex style questions, nursing questions are pretty much all correct. You just have to choose the most correct one. It's so hard to differentiate between all of them. So normally I can narrow it down to 2, and then when it comes down to those 2, I'm like, I just can't figure out for the life of me which one it is. What has helped me the most is remembering your ABCs. So you've got airway, breathing, and circulation. So you want to assess to see, like, let's say the question is, the nurse got 4 new admissions, which patient should the nurse see first, like as her top priority? You want to assess anyone who has an airway issue, like anyone who might have a possibility for an ineffective airway. Is their airway patent? So you're going to want to make sure they're not having like difficulty breathing, shortness of breath. Did they get in a car accident and they have risk for like aspiration because they're not breathing on their own? Like, do they need to be intubated? Let's say they have an NG tube and they have risk for aspiration, or a feeding tube and they have risk for aspiration. So like, you want to make sure there's no one that you need to assess who's going to have issues with their breathing. So like, let's say a patient has COPD and they're having an exacerbation, or like something like that. So you have to make sure out of all your 4 choices, is someone having a breathing issue? If not, you move along. So like, let's say they're having like a perfusion issue. So let's say something to do with their heart, you know, they got edema, their blood pressure is very low, like 80s over, I don't know, like 62 or 50 or something like that. And their perfusion is not very well. So they have low blood pressure. They have slow capillary refill. All those things are going to be signs of poor perfusion. So you're going to really focus on your ABCs and make sure you're answering questions to follow along with that. If it's not really an ABC question, when you're focusing on those, you really want to narrow it down to like Nclex style questions. So in Nclex world, it's pretty much like no one else in the hospital exists but your patient. So like, let's say they are psych related, maybe they're suicidal or like not coping with their new diagnosis very well, and the question might be like, I'm sorry to hear this, I know your new diagnosis isn't very easy to cope with, or I understand your concerns, would you like me to sit down with you and talk about your concerns, or something like that. Like, you guys know what I'm trying to get at. So like, Nclex world, the hospital is perfect. There's no other patients, you know, stuff like that. So moving on, the best way that I used to study for these finals and the exams that I've done really well recently is I would pull the syllabus from my teacher, which is an excellent tool, by the way, because they're pretty much giving you everything that's going to be on your quiz or your exam. They're going to list chapters that are going to be on there for you to review. So on my syllabus, it would say exam 3, and then like each day would be broken down, like what chapters we're going to go over, what we're going to read, the material that you need to know, stuff like that. So you're going to want to write down all of those chapters. So for example, my last exam, our final, it said exam 4. So exam 4, she had listed out all of the chapters that we'd go over, or the topics. So like Parkinson's disease, hypertension, arterial sclerosis, stuff like that. So you would take those topics, you can either Google them on Quizlet and look over practice questions related to that topic, which is super helpful. Another way is to use test banks. Test banks helped me so much. I absolutely love those. And they're very similar to on the test questions. So I highly recommend using test banks. I don't know how you guys can get them. I got them from a classmate and I paid my portion to access her test banks, but I'm sure you can just Google them for whatever book you're using. But test banks are super helpful because they not only give you practice questions, but it also gives you rationale. So it tells you why something is wrong. So like, let's say you cover up the answer, you try to answer the question by yourself, you get it wrong, if you look at the rationale, it's going to explain to you why you might have got that question wrong and what to look out for in the future. So that's really helped me with answering questions that I've never seen before, because I'm thinking about rationales versus answers. So I'm like, okay, so if this happened, blah, blah, blah. Like, you can actually like process your way through it and critically think to get to the answer, which has been amazing. So other than Quizlet and using test banks, my third best option was using what we call Evolve. This is the program that we use for our nursing program. I know a lot of people use like ATI or other sources, but our program currently is called Evolve. So what I would use normally is our Evolve. We would go and log on to the specific book that we're using. So if it was MedSurg, I would click on the MedSurg book, I would go to resources, and then you can actually search by chapters. So let's say it's like chapter 32. At the end of chapter 32 on the website, you can actually go down to practice questions, and then it can generate practice questions for you. So you can actually answer them, submit them, and then if they're incorrect, it'd give you rationales for those also. The three best ways that I use to study is definitely practice questions. I can study material over and over again, but I promise you, if you ask me a question, all that material is just gone. I have a really, really good time with memorizing answers to questions. I don't know what it is, like picture memory or something, but like when I am like doing practice questions, and if you try to test me on it like 10 minutes later, I'd be like, oh yeah, it was that one. Like, I just know the answers if I looked at it and like, okay, answer C. Okay, got it. And I would move on. Like, I just could remember those so well, and I think that really, really helped me. But that is all that I have for today's video. I really, really hope you guys enjoyed this. I can't wait to share more about my nursing school journey. We are about to take a summer break. It's going to be about 3 months long, and then I'll go into my third semester. We're going to be doing OB and psych, so I'm a little nervous because I heard that's pretty difficult, but I'm sure I'll get through it. I'm sure I'll just push my way through. But definitely subscribe if you guys are new here so you guys can see my future uploads, especially on my future nursing videos. I'd love to have you guys and follow along on my journey, but don't forget to subscribe, give this video a big thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!
Waiting for a post to see if it's him.